What's up, everybody? Football fans, Raider fans, other fans, I don't care. We're all fans of football, right? Right. Welcome to Prime's Fantasy Island. What is up? It has been an exciting 2 weeks of football, let me tell you. No one ever actually saw this coming. It's been the most unpredictable football season so far. I mean, we're only 2 weeks in, and I can't tell you how much I never saw a lot of this coming, and I actually pride myself on knowing, what's going to happen? How's it going to go down? Who's going to be a star? Who's not going to be a star? Everybody in the league, I try to follow just a little bit, and you know what? This year has been nothing but surprises. Nothing but surprises, and we're only in week 2. Once again, welcome to Prime's Fantasy Island right here at Prime Raider Reaction and Reaction Sports Studios. Anyway, want to remind everybody that you can follow us on Facebook. That's right, D-Plane, we've landed, my friend. That's right, we are live in Fantasy Island. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, everything. Go to RaiderReaction.com. That's right. And log in, sign up. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, I am here tonight to answer your fantasy football questions. Whether you got a question about who's going to start, who you should start maybe. Last week was a crazy week in football. Nobody saw it coming. For instance, last week, there were 186 touchdowns. That is the most touchdowns in NFL history through week 2 at least, Or how about 4 of those touchdowns were actually defensive, while 182 of those touchdowns were offensive. You know what I'm saying? So I will follow your comments here. Sup, Brian Sweet? Hey, Mario. Thank you guys for coming up there, stepping in and saying something tonight. So if you have any questions about your fantasy football team, I would be more than happy to answer them. I also couldn't help but notice that, Monday night, I know all the Raider fans are not going to, they don't care about this, but I got to say it anyway. Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes are going to meet Monday night. And that will be the first meeting between former NFL MVPs, both under the age of 26 in NFL history. Wow. And that game is chock full of, fantasy stalwarts, Between Lamar Jackson, the Ravens. Mario, are you saying the Ravens that the Ravens are going to win? All I know is just, the defense of the Chiefs has kind of stepped it up a little bit, but I don't think they could do anything about that Baltimore offense, So if you have Lamar Jackson, if you have, Mark Edwards, if you have Mark Ingram, then they're all going to be good plays. And of course, even on the other side of the ball, if you have Patrick Mahomes, if you have Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, or the rookie running back, Edwards-Helaire, you're probably doing just fine. Now, I do want to talk about the fantasy implications of that huge Raider game coming up against the New England Patriots. Well, the Raiders have a little bit to worry about. Cam Newton has rushed for 2 rushing touchdowns the first 2 games. By the way, in 8 career games with 2 rushing touchdowns, that's the most amongst quarterbacks in NFL history. Like I said, this is an unpredictable year, and I don't know, man. I didn't see any of this coming. I didn't think offenses were going to be like this in tune without any preseason games, barely any practice, barely any pads. It's been pretty amazing. Some other fantasy quarterbacks that have been getting it done? Well, hey, can't forget about Derek Carr. Nope. Man, Waller with big 12 receptions last week. If you had Waller on your fantasy team, like I did, then boy, you got a boatload of points. Because, I mean, man, 12 catches, 103 yards, and I think a touchdown, man. Oh, man, it was beautiful. So, now the Raiders wide receivers, they need to step it up a bit if they want to be any sort of fantasy relevant. Because otherwise it's Josh Jacobs and it's Waller. And if Derek Carr can keep on planting that left foot and driving that ball downfield, then you might want him on your fantasy roster too. Just like my main man, the commish. And you are right, James Rader. Injuries are killing fantasy football. I mean, I'm not going to kid you. I got one league where Saquon Barkley was my first pick in the first round. I had the second pick, and I was like, where should I go? You know, Christian McCaffrey was off the board number 1. I went Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is done for the year. So, I'll tell you that if you had Saquon Barkley, for instance, who is gone for the year, then you're probably wondering who that backup is going to be. Yeah, I hear what you're saying with the next man up. But, you know, there's a reason why they're second and third string, because they're just not as good. So, if you had Saquon Barkley, then Devontae Freeman is going to be your man. But at the same time, he's not going to be the man for a minute. If you get Devontae Freeman because you lost Saquon Barkley, or if you just want to be an opportunist and you go for that and you go for Freeman because Saquon's gone, that guy didn't he didn't get Freeman, so you're going to get Freeman before he can. If you do that, that's a good idea. But at the same time, you're going to want to wait a couple weeks. He is not going to be the stalwart. He's not going to be the main man in that committee of running backs anytime soon. It's going to take at least, I'm going to say 2 weeks before Freeman is full on the number 1 guy in New York. So, if you lost Saquon Barkley, then yeah, go after Freeman. But honestly, I think another running back that would be even better, who is probably available in most drafts or most leagues, is Mike Davis. So, the second string running back. Well, James Rader jumped on Robbie Anderson. Well, yeah, he's a wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers, but I don't know if he's necessarily gonna. I mean, he might pick up a few more of those catches. Him and what's his face? Oh my gosh, Teddy Bridgewater. Bridgewater and Robbie Anderson do have some chemistry. So I think going forward, they're going to be a pretty solid duo, fantasy-wise. But, of course, with McCaffrey gone, all right, you're actually going to still have a running back that's going to get a portion of those receptions. Robbie Anderson's not going to jump too far up without McCaffrey, because Mike Anderson is actually his backup. Mike Anderson, if you can get your hands on Mike Anderson, then for at least the next 3 weeks, you're gold, because McCaffrey just went on IR. He's on injured reserve, so he's not coming back for at least 3 weeks. And with 3 weeks of McCaffrey gone, Mike Davis is going to light it up, man. He's going to be the guy, and he's a really good pass catching running back, so he'll still get some of that action that McCaffrey got. It just doesn't always turn into the McCaffrey yards, So, it's getting set up for a great finish for fantasy. Those of us who can't pick will have a handicap. Yeah, it is. It is. And I am one of the people suffering. My fantasy squad is decimated with injuries. I got Mike Thomas. They said he might come back. Natty Ice versus Fanny Hill. Oh, I got to go Natty Ice, dude. Like, I want a quick drunk and a headache the next day. That's what I'm talking about. Let's do it like I did it when I was 16. Natty Ice all day. Right. So, yeah. And then James Robinson for your replacement running back. Okay. But Robbie Anderson is, man, like he was a Jet before that. And granted, I think Natty Ice or Fanny Hill. I got to go Natty Ice. Are we talking about beer? If we're talking about beer, I'm going Natty Ice. Come on now. All right. If you're just now joining us, or you're watching this on a watch party, okay, and you want your fantasy questions answered, then come over to the live feed, which is on Raider Reaction, Facebook /Raider Reaction, the live feed right now to get your questions answered if you are watching in a watch party. All right? So we still got a few minutes till kickoff. I'm still going. Like, yeah, we're still good. So, man alive. I mean, through the first 2 weeks, well, first of all, let me talk about this. Raiders, I know you guys are playing the Patriots here coming up. So I think Waller's still going to be able to do whatever he wants. I still think that you guys can have some success with Renfro. Edwards is great, but like, I don't think Edwards is not Ruggs the Third. Henry Ruggs the Third. Anyway, yeah. So like those wide receivers. Now on the flip side of that ball, though, Cam Newton. If you got Cam Newton, dude's fantasy gold. He may not win a lot, but I tell you what, if you get 2 rushing touchdowns a game and you still throw for 250 yards and another passing touchdown, you just got like 40 fantasy points. Like, Cam Newton is the man that way, you know? Always go to the Raider Reaction page. Yes, always go to the Raider Reaction page. But sometimes Raider Reaction page runs watch parties. And we even run watch parties sometimes while we're doing it. So if you're watching the watch party, come to the live feed if you want your fantasy questions answered. We got about 12 minutes to kick off. Oh, I know, man. I can't talk about his sense of style. His sense of style is not winning any fantasy points. Like, that's like negative fantasy points. If you're talking about Cam Newton. Like, Cam Newton can't dress. I don't know where in the world he got his sense of style. Like, maybe he just needs to wear some NFL t-shirts like I do. I have no idea. Maybe he needs to hang out with Prime. I don't know. You know, man, maybe he just needs some cargo shorts and some Birkenstock sandals. You know what I mean? And like a fanny pack, and he can dress like some dads. I don't know. So, anyway, good times here on Fantasy Island. So, with your main man Prime, and just to let you guys know that the Commish and Prime are working out some plans right now where we can be together in the same room, not just during our fantasy football draft, but actually for some of the Raider games this year. So, imagine that, Commish and Prime, together at the games. They'll be like, there's a Raider fan, and there's a guy I don't know. Who do you start, Russell Wilson or Cam Newton? Well, Cam Newton's playing the Raiders. And Seattle, let's see. I got to see who Seattle's playing. My bad. And because Russell Wilson is damn near a start regardless. That guy, I mean, he's a front runner for the MVP right now. You know, Russell Wilson, he throws, he runs, he does it all. You know, he really does. In fact, he's sort of like the prototype of the quarterbacks that are coming out now. You know, against Dallas? Oh, come on now. I mean, even Atlanta scored 39 points against Dallas. You know, I still think Dallas sucks. I don't care if they got a 1-point win. I don't care. Anyway, so with that in mind, man, it could be a gnarly shootout if you ask me. And with that gnarly kind of shootout, then, yeah, I definitely got to go Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is he's still a better fantasy pick than Cam Newton. Cam Newton's fantasy gold, Russell Wilson is fantasy gold. Either way you cut it. So, But with Russell Wilson facing off against Dallas, he's going to carve him up like yesterday's turkey. And it's not even fall yet. We don't even have Thanksgiving, and I'm already making turkey references. It doesn't even make sense. Oof. So, I mean, that's not even all the craziness, right? Like, a lot of people, including myself, thought the league was going to be down this year after, do the Pats expose Carr? Nah, dog. I mean, that defense is not what it was last year. Sorry, Jason Hughes, I see your question, do the Pats expose Carr? And no, they don't. Their defense is not even the defense it was last year. I mean, half their guys opted out of the season with the whole COVID thing, you know? So, I mean, no Patrick Chung. Patrick Chung was pretty much like the quarterback of their defense. I mean, Hightower, there's a ton of guys. Here's my dilemma. I have Carr, Breeze. Who do I sit? Right now? I hear you, James, but can you really trust Breeze right now? I watched the game Monday night, and Drew Brees looked shook. He looked like he was gun shy. He looked like he had stage fright. Like, you sit Breeze this week. Carr is good 20 a pop, dude. Like, anytime. Like, he's good for 20 points. Maybe 15 here and there, you know. Which isn't going to blow anybody out of the water with just 20 points out of your quarterback. But Breeze is done, man. Like, you better Jason Hill or even Jameis Winston. One of those guys. Jason Hill is intriguing just because he's like an all-around. He's just a football player. He doesn't even have like a position. Jason Hill, but I think he was a second-string quarterback or until Jameis there. Famous Jameis is there, so now famous Jameis can go and throw some interceptions for the Saints. And yeah, Jason Hughes, absolutely, he is 41, and it does show. Like, he needs to get on the same diet as Tom Brady. Tom Brady only kind of looks 41, but if you actually look at him, he doesn't look 41 at all. He looks like a 35-year-old dude or a 30-year-old dude, you know? Like, I don't know. He's on like kale milkshakes or something. I don't do kale smoothies. You know, kale smoothies will keep you young and marry a supermodel, and that'll work. But I cannot. What type of player on D do you value the highest when it comes to independent defensive players? Good question, Jake. So I value linebackers first, with safeties, right? So, you know, some people will go with a defensive back, you know, but if you're going to go with a defensive back at all, then you should get a safety, because safeties are in on more tackles. They play the middle of the field, and they got a good chance of interceptions. Depending on the defense in which that safety is playing for, they're going to get chances to go down to the line and sack the quarterback as well. So with a safety, you at least get tackles, turnover chances, and sacks. You know, I like linebackers, middle linebackers, not outside linebackers at all. You know, I got an outside linebacker on one of my teams that has defensive players, and he just doesn't make sense. I like middle linebackers. Middle linebackers are on every play. Like, they're in there. I mean, if you got a good middle linebacker, then that dude is everywhere on the field, and he's involved in every play. He's going to blitz. He's going to drop back in coverage. He's going to have plenty of opportunities to make a play. You know? So with that, I do value linebackers just a hair more than safeties. And I have Ruggs, Waller, and Jacobs. Good Lord. Why don't you just get Carr too, and you got everyone with fantasy relevance on the Raiders. He did not hit anyone in stride. The receivers bailed out against the Saints. Close the gap, you're right, shot caller. Okay. Yeah. But Carr did not hit anyone in stride. I don't know, man. He made more plays, dude. I mean, the league as a whole, we had the highest completion percentage in NFL history this last week. Like, hit him in stride. Like, you're nitpicking there, Jason Hughes. I get that. But those guys are still going to make plays. Eventually, he's going to hit. Well, he hit Renfro in stride. The couple of times he went for Ruggs, he actually overthrew him once, which is amazing. Like, you overthrow Henry Ruggs, who's got rocket speed. Oh, I know. Big Ben will always go off. That dude's good for like 4 touchdowns every couple of weeks. Man, Big Ben is gonna go off. I knew that stuff, man. Yeah. I mean, week 1 he looked rusty. Second half he looked way better. And then after that, week 2, I mean, it's all in the cooking. You see the points, man. You see the points. You see the points, Carlos. Thank you. Well, yeah. All right. Oh, I told you, Watson? Oh, man. Ooh. Man, I don't bat 1,000. Thanks, Carlos. I'm sorry I was wrong. Dang. Yeah, Deshaun Watson, I don't know what happened. I don't even know. In fact, all right, everything I thought about Deshaun Watson this year, I mean, granted, they've had like the Devil's Gauntlet for the first couple of weeks. I mean, they open up against the Chiefs, and then they play the Ravens, and see, good call. I tell you what, Carlos. See, I didn't, man. He will still end up being a Rottenberger. He is a Rottenberger. I don't like him as a man, but as a quarterback, he's all right. It's true. As a man, I don't like him at all. I'm not even sure how he still has a job. Landry, Judy, or Corey Davis. Corey Davis is hot right now, I tell you. Jarvis Landry. He is, despite the, Odell, Landry will always get the ball. He's good. In fact, the one I trust the most on this is Landry. The one with the highest ceiling is probably Corey Davis. He's with Ryan Tannehill, while Judy is with a second-string quarterback who wasn't even as good as Drew Lock. Yeah, well, yeah, Carlos, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Watson played the Chiefs, the Ravens, and now they're about to play the Steelers, and the Steelers' defense is crazy. Like, people underestimate the Steeler D right now. And having watched that game, dude, they fly. Jarvis Landry, well, he's a Brown. I don't care what they do in their free time. I admit, I'm not one of those guys that pays attention to what the players do on the streets. As long if they're eligible to play, there's enough bad news about them all. In fact, I don't want to hear bad news about any player going forward. If you all of a sudden, if a player makes the news, then I hope it's for something good, like what he did for the Boys and Girls Club, or what he did for his community, or did he give bikes or underprivileged kids a chance to go to college? Because, there are plenty of players that do that. Anyway, Carlos Barraza, he says, Fant or Gesicki? Tight end, Gesicki for Miami, who is about to play. And Noah Fant, I tell you what, he came out of Tight End University, otherwise known as Iowa. Yeah, and he is pretty good. Gosh. It's almost a coin toss, but because of the beard, Fitzpatrick. There you go. I'm gonna go Gesicki. The backup quarterback for Denver. Drew Lock. I don't even like Drew Lock. Gesicki, whatever. Is that just like a spelling correction, or are you saying you should? Yeah, I'm going with Gesicki as well. Let's see. Who is the backup quarterback for Denver? He's probably a chump. It's like the rest of the Broncos anyway. So, oh yeah, Blake Bortles. They signed him. They just picked him up. Otherwise, it would have been Jeff Driscoll. Whoever Jeff Driscoll is. Jeff Driscoll out of Who's Your Nanny, Who's Your Pappy, University, State. Anyway, nah. So, but they did just sign Bortles. Oh, man. Well, all right. Quarterbacks that don't have really great passing acumen, that they're not really great passers, they have a tendency. His name is Hee-Haw. All right. If the guy's not a good passer, then he most likely throws to simply his running backs and his tight end. So, yeah, I would go Miami tight end just to be sure there, Carlos Barraza. You bet. Fant with, oh my gosh, I can't believe Bortles got a job. Like, is there no one else in the world that can play quarterback better than Blake Bortles that's just like sitting on their couch right now? Like, what's Tim Couch doing? You know, he's probably old. Like, man, there's got to be somebody better. No, I can't play quarterback. I'm out of shape. They'd hit me, I get sacked, and I'd be done. So, anyway, once again, if you are just now tuning in, you are watching Prime's Fantasy Island, where I will answer any of your fantasy questions. I don't bat 1,000, but I do bat about 750. So, like, hey, that's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. I've won championships and stuff. I've got fantasy clout, dude. Like, I'm not messing around. The hardcore challenge, I was in the Super Bowl just last year. I lost in the Super Bowl. It was tough. My guys didn't show up, but I broke every record in the league. So, Jamarcus, no, you can't call Jamarcus. He's on a boat. Kaepernick, you know, Johnny, you make a interesting, Johnny Talavera, dude. Are we talking Kaepernick or Blake Bortles? Who would you rather have, Colin Kaepernick or Blake Bortles? Oh, man, I don't know. I don't even know. Wait a minute. Didn't Kaepernick get benched for Blake Bortles at one point in time? He got benched for somebody. I forget. It was after the whole Super Bowl run, which, the commissioner and I were talking about it, and he's like, it was during the time where everybody started running not shotgun, but the silly offensive scheme where the running back is in the quarterback position and whatnot else, Anyway, somehow Colin Kaepernick made it to a Super Bowl. But, man, I don't know if I would Kaepernick or Bortles. I'd say I'd go with Kaepernick. Yep. Blake Bortles, nah. Probably not. I'm going to go with Kaepernick over Bortles. Man, a lot of people dropped. Anyway, the game is about to start, y'all. In fact, it started 4 minutes ago. But do I think the Niners rookie running back Hasty touching the ball? Rookie McKinnon is a starter. And he's going to touch the ball, But really, these running backs, what running backs they still have, because I think they lost their top two. In San Francisco, San Francisco got decimated. Bosa is one of the best defensive linemen in the country, gone for the season. So, anyway, he'll be back in 2021, along with a lot of other people that'll be back in 21. But that's a running back by committee, man, and it is hard to say. And, oh, man, the 49ers on a second-string quarterback, too, it is really tough to trust anything in their offense right now. But they are playing the Giants, and the Giants are weak on defense. They are bad at defense. They're so bad at defense that they cut Prince Nakamura, and he became a Raider, and he sucked, so he got cut by the Raiders too. What? Yeah, the Giants have a terrible defense. So, that being said, there's a long trip. It is across the country. I would just, I would just say no on any 49er right now, because they're on the second string quarterback and they're making that trip all the way from San Francisco to New York to the Meadowlands. Dobbins is hit and miss, Barraza, I tell you. J.K. Dobbins from the Baltimore Ravens, he's hit and miss because he's always going to be behind Mark Ingram. So, like, his real value is going to come whether or not he gets a touchdown, because he's not going to get enough carries to, like, take you over 100 yards or anything like that. There might be, like, he had, I think, week 1, maybe week 2. It's only been 2 weeks, so I think it was week 1 where Dobbins, like, blew up. He had at least a touchdown, probably like 40 yards, but you can't depend on him to get that touchdown every time. So if you have another choice, Dobbins, I would just hold on to him until Mark Ingram gets old and retires or gets hurt or something like that. So, James Raider, thank you very much. I appreciate, of course, all my Raider Nation friends and family. And, of course, hey, I'm not going to lie. As being the guy that doesn't really have his own football team, I'm not a fan of any one team. The league, Roger Goodell is my favorite player. The Hammer. It's all about the nickname, Roger the Hammer. But he's no Jim Bob Cooter. Anyway, I am going to roll out for the time being. Come back next Thursday. I will be on usually, sometime before the actual kickoff. And Much love, Raider Nation. Football is life. Love. Live it, baby. Bow, bow, bow.